Hi, I'm Glynn Kretzler with Real Property Management One Source. We're here doing a special episode with Jillian Pittman. She's with J&P Plumbing. We're going to talk about what kind of issues or things you need to address when you're buying a property for rental, or you have a property for rental. These are the things you need to look at or be aware of. You wanna tell us a little bit about you and your
Yeah.
company?
So I am the JMP of JMP Plumbing, actually. I am the master plumber and owner of the company. We will have completed our fourth year in business in April of 2026. So it's a big year for
Congrats.
us. Thank you. Going into our fifth year, it means a lot to me. I've been in the industry about 14 years now, since December of 2012. So I didn't start out as, a legacy plumber. I was the first one in my family. It was just something I happened upon and something I found I'm really good at. So here I am.
Why did you pick plumbing? Did
You
you have
know,
other opportunities or?
I did. There was, the world is my oyster.
Uh-huh.
But it just I kind of fell into my lap. I moved in with my mom after some bad investments in real
Mhm.
estate. Just didn't turn out my way. So, but it was all in my favor because my sister was actually dating the master plumber that I worked for
Mhm.
10 years. So
Wow.
he happened to need a helper, and I happened to be willing to get in a ditch, and dig a hole. And,
Now you got your own
14
company.
years later, here we are.
Not very often you get a woman owner
Yeah,
with a
exactly.
plumbing service.
There's actually quite a few plumbing companies in the area that are woman owned, but the thing that sets us apart is that there's not any female responsible master plumbers that are running
Mhm.
the company. We have business owners who then hire or, are
Right.
married to the
Right.
RMP.
Well, that's great. So what we're looking here, I guess we're looking at rental properties. What are some of the things that you would highly recommend for the investor or the owners that they should address uh,
Absolutely.
as far as plumbing's concerned?
The biggest thing is going to be what you can't see. And when it comes to plumbing, that is literally everything except for your handles for your
Hmm.
faucets. So one thing that I, actively recommend as a must-have for, any homeowner is a camera evaluation. So we do an extensive camera scope where we run it down the cleanouts, your main line, and then any other accessible cleanouts that we have so we can check out those branches.
Hmm.
And that's going to be the biggest cost that you have is, if you do have a cast iron system or if you happen to have a break or you're starting to see potential need for repair, it's best to know, before it starts getting a whole bunch of use to get that, addressed, know what's going on, and get it repaired.
So let's go to the basics. You're
Okay.
talking cast iron.
Yes.
When was cast iron used? What age of houses? When you're shopping around, what are
Right.
those kind of things you need to know?
I would say cast iron stopped being used around 30 years ago. 40 years ago, 100%, you're going to see
Hmm.
cast iron homes. 30 years, it's kind of hit or miss. It could be PVC, but you're looking at a home in the 80s, it's going to be a cast iron home.
So what kind of problems do you see with those?
Because they are metal and they are sitting in the ground, sediment and different kind of materials that are in the ground, elements that are in the ground,
Hmm.
actually corrode that cast iron as well as water does too, over extended use. So before you see it completely crumbling apart, which is what it's doing now, cast iron has expired. It's its life limit. And you'll start to see channel rotting. So as you run a camera through the lines, your camera will set in the divot that's created the bottom of the pipe, and it'll be rough and bumpy, and it's just kind of like the Grand Canyon, but a
Hmm.
smaller scale from what the water's carved out. And all of those ridges and stuff hold the solids that then flow through it. So before it's actually breaking, it's going to start causing stoppages. So you can clear the stoppage, but it's going to come back again, in 2 months down the line, 3 months down the line,
Right.
and you'll have to redo it again.
Right. We've had a lot of issues with the older houses where you got roots in the line.
Hmm.
What? How do you go about taking care of those?
Well, you have to identify where the roots are coming from. And so typically they're coming from outside the house, and roots are actually funny. They can smell, listen to, or feel whatever you want to describe it as the water.
Hmm.
And so they'll actually work their way through a pipe. That's been known to do it in cast iron because the way the cast iron connections are, it's either lead and oakum or a manual kind of crank. I don't know, a crank mechanism
Hmm.
that you use to tighten it down on, and it'll work its way through those joints and then just start flourishing in the pipe, and it'll create just a huge log sometimes. So, what we do is we'll open up that problem area where the root has come from, and a lot of times we can open a 3-foot section and then pull the roots out that have came through it.
Hmm.
Sometimes the roots are so stuck in there and have branched out that we actually have to then follow the line until we're physically able to clear all those
Right.
roots. There is a way to clear the roots sometimes with a hydrojetting machine, which we do have, and you can kind of break those up with pressure. It's kind of a mix of that and a sewer machine. But my best recommendation is the roots got in there through something that wasn't watertight. So
Right.
always repair it.
Right. What about? I know there's new. I don't know how new it is, but it's a newer technology to me anyway.
Mhm.
The liners, where you put a liner inside the pipes.
And that's really cool. I like it. We don't offer it at JMP yet. It's something I've been thinking about getting to, but I will say that that is a great option for a temporary repair. And I say that being as if you do end up having stoppages or they're not able to make a transition or a bend, after you run a sewer machine through there, or if the ground shifts and it does crack, it is easily torn up, that inner lining after it cures, and that'll again cause those ridges that are going to cause stoppages. So it's a good temporary repair, 5 to 7 years before you have to bite the
Right.
bullet and make that repair underground.
Something a lot of people don't understand is the ground shifting, and
Yes,
here in Texas, it's everywhere, and that's why you got cracks in your corners of your walls and stuff inside the house. Is
absolutely.
usually your foundation shifting, and that hurts your
Hurts
piping.
your plumbing, it
Yep.
does. It hurts not only the sewer piping, but also your domestic water piping too, because the majority of the time, that's either ran in copper, which has, materials from the ground hitting it, or it's PVC, which gets brittle over time
Right.
and starts to crack. So now we do use predominantly PEX piping, which is like a flexible material. And the great thing is there's no corrosion, so you're not going to find pinhole leaks, and the ground can shift and there's movement in it. So
Hmm.
there's a little bit of new technology with um, the material that we're installing, but it really all boils down to outside of plumbing, kind of, because you still have to use your hose bib, is just making sure that you irrigate your grass as well as
Right.
the perimeter of your house.
Right. Right. Let's get into clogged sinks and toilets.
Yeah,
That's what the typical tenant would, the issues they have.
yeah,
Can't flush my toilet or the sink's clogged.
right.
Uh, what are your helpful tips to either keep that from happening or
Yeah.
get it unclogged?
Well, hair is a huge factor when it comes to any drain, especially with, women out there and beards that get shaven over the drain. Um, Helpful tip that helps keep the plumbers away is they sell these things on Amazon. They're little hair catchers.
Hmm.
Looks like a flower on top, and it has a bunch of chains with a bunch of odd ends that just catch the hair. I definitely recommend getting those. as well as, we can do natural enzyme cleanings if you're having to deal with a smell. Because that's the other thing, the clogged drains and the smelly drains. Because what your toothpaste and your shampoo, all of that soap accumulates and sticks to those pipes. So before it builds up and actually clogs, it'll also build a bacteria that makes like a rotten egg smell.
Right.
And so it's really honestly, to me, imperative for homeowners to know Drano is not good. And
That was my next question.
that will make your plumbing bill higher. I'm just going to talk to the audience there. That will make your plumbing bill higher because at that point in time, Drano really doesn't work. And so then when the plumber comes in, we now have to not work with just, water backing up sewage. Now we have to work with a hazardous chemical. So there are naturally safe products that we can use that actually eat that bacteria away, and it doesn't affect the integrity of your piping.
What are those?
It's a natural enzyme. What we use is called BioClean. And the homeowner can actually purchase this themselves and do it as a preventative treatment. I recommend once every 6 months, once every 3 months if you have a really bad problem. But just read the directions on the back. It's just running hot water, putting this stuff down and letting it sit, and then running more hot water.
Right.
When life hits hard, late payments, medical bills, job loss, or even the need to move quickly, many homeowners feel trapped. The fastest way out seems to be selling to a cash investor, but that means giving your home away for pennies on the dollar. You don't have to do that. Nearly half of homeowners today are equity rich, and that value belongs to you. With our One Move program, you can unlock that equity immediately, get cash in hand now, and still share in the upside when your home resells. Or, if you'd rather, we'll shop your property to multiple cash buyers so you can choose the best offer instead of settling for one low bid. Go to donedealoffers.com and discover the smarter way to get cash fast without losing the equity you've worked so hard to build.
What does Real Property Management do for you? Advertising, marketing, prepping, inspecting, showing and screening, reviewing, accepting, selecting and signing, briefing and moving, maintaining, inspecting, enforcing, responding, pricing and saving, communicating, emailing and calling and faxing and stating, coordinating, scheduling, unlocking, fixing, accounting, reporting, funding, filing, and nixing, complying, renewing or moving, collecting, evicting, assessing, rekeying, and ever repeating. And meanwhile, we're training and ever refining, always running to keep vacancies ever declining. Because Real Property Management means oh so much more than cashing a rent check. Oh no, so much more. The discount shops say they can do all this too, without staff, systems, resources. How can that be true? Tens of thousands of investors nationwide know when they need real management, just where to go. We're proven and trusted winter, spring, summer, fall, from major catastrophes down to the small. So if you own rentals, grab the phone and make a call. Real Property Management. We handle it all.
I know you got garbage disposals. We call you for that. I know on our end, our technician tries to troubleshoot it with them. Most people don't know there's a reset button on the garbage disposal.
Yeah. Or what that little key is at the bottom. Yeah. A lot of time people have an Allen wrench that looks like an S taped somewhere underneath their cabinet. And now actually, if it ever gets stuck, you can take that key and stick it in that hole at the bottom of the disposal and just wiggle back and forth. And as soon as it breaks free, your disposal's working again.
Right.
Once that reset button is hit. So, helpful tip.
Is there, what other things are there that I haven't addressed?
When it comes to tenants, any homeowner, what not to do, put down your drain, your kitchen drain, coffee grounds, starchy stuff like rice or potatoes. It just swells and sits and sticks to the pipe. Eggshells, that'll clog up your pipe. Your disposal is not your catch-all for anything. Really, using your trash can and then rinsing your food is going to, or any of your plates is going to save you a lot of plumbing headaches in the long run. But I would say one thing that we have not touched on is checking your angle stops. A lot of times, those are the reason why, or the source of major leaks inside of the house. If a faucet breaks or a cartridge breaks and you can't shut the water off to that unit itself, you have a problem. So just annually going by and making sure you can freely turn on and off the water to each of your fixtures, it's going to save you a huge headache.
So you're talking about the actual fixture itself on your sink.
Yes, yeah, the
Uh,
valve running to it. So
right.
you'll see where the fixture is. You'll have a supply line running to it because everything in your water system is all connected.
Yeah. Now, one thing that uh, we try to make sure we tell our tenants, where is the shutoff valve?
Yes.
And when I'm saying shutoff valve, we're talking about shutting all the
Your
water off
whole
for the
water
whole
off.
house. And if you have any emergency whatsoever, toilets overflowing, whatever, it's good to shut that water off for the whole house so you don't create more damage.
Absolutely.
Typically, where are those at?
So they're usually in one of three places. If your builder or anybody, when they were building the house, had it separated, you're going to have one in your flower bed or in your garage. So it really depends on your plumbing system and the age of your house. If you have a 2000s or older home, like 2000, 2010 or older home, it's more than likely going to be in the flower bed.
Right.
Now, if you can find it in the wall in the garage, typically by the water heater. If both of those you can't find that or that fails, there's always a shutoff that they have outside of the meter.
At the street.
Now, I have spent hours and hours looking for those until I called the water department finally, and he gave me a helpful tip. Is if it's grown, grass has grown over it, on the side, on the curb, there's always a cut. Like somebody took a saw and just put a cut, and they'll spray paint blue over it. Right there, right in front of where that cut is where your meter is going to be found.
In the grass somewhere.
Yep, in the
Yep.
grass, right
Or
in
the
front of
flower
that
bed.
cut.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
That's something
So
I didn't know.
yeah,
So,
it'll save you hours. Yeah.
okay, I know with like HVAC, they have a preventive maintenance or a seasonal maintenance to their systems. Do you have anything on yours as far as plumbing's concerned?
We absolutely do. We have both preventative maintenance and a seasonal maintenance. Like we do have our JMP family plan where we will every year we'll come out. We provide a free tank flush or half off a tankless flush, and do all of your seasonal checkups that we just discussed. Your angle
That's on your
stops.
water heater.
That's
and all
on your
that.
water
Mhm.
heater. We will run a camera through your system. We'll go check your entire system and tell you what's good, what could use repair, or what is in need for repair, and an overall cost. That way, you guys, with no pressure, so you guys can understand that. That's something that is given, for free as being a member of our family plan. But at JMP, we like to pride ourselves that we are the preventative maintenance plumber. We do have emergency services available, but we prefer not to have to use those. So, one thing that we're trying to promote and let everybody know is that there are inline leak detection systems that you can put on your house. So, I just put one on before we went to Hawaii recently, and I knew that I was covered because what it does is it just sets on your water system right before it comes into your house. It'll learn your water usage in about a week, and then anything that water turns on outside your normal usage, it'll send you a little ting in the app. If you don't respond in that 2 minutes saying, "Hey, water's being used, are you using it?" it'll shut your water off. So it saves your home, which, the average claim is about $11,000 for
Yep.
water damage. But the whole thing is it costs about $2,000, which is an investment. However, with most insurance companies, it'll pay for itself and then end up paying you back after the 3 or 4 years. So it's really a great product and one of the top things that we recommend just to keep emergencies from happening, keep freezes from happening. But leaks don't happen just from freezes, it's also from the ground shifting.
So does that include covering the sprinkler system in
No,
case there's a leak there?
it won't. So we do separate it out from the sprinkler system because those are two completely different systems and we don't want them intermingled because of backflow and potential, contaminating the water supply. But what we do is we install it after that double check or after that split for the sprinkler system.
Okay. Are you more house plumbing or do you also do sprinkler repair or anything like that?
Well, so a common misconception is that sprinkler, irrigation, and plumbing are the same thing, and they're actually not. They're two different
Correct.
licenses. So the plumber, so we can just educate people, the plumber brings the water up to the valve for the irrigation, and then after that,
They
the
take over.
irrigators can take
Mhm.
over.
We get called. It's always in the middle of the night.
Hmm.
You got somebody screaming that the toilet's overflowing, they can't get it to stop, or something like that. And uh, when the plumber goes in and they start pulling stuff out, they found out kid had little soldier army men and was flushing them because they got killed in their battle and
Yeah, yeah,
they were
yeah.
burying them. They get clogged in the line, and then at that same house, we had a lady was using baby wipes that were non-disposable. So the combination of those two created a probably $15,000 flood.
Yes.
And
Yes, and we can bring up baby wipes too. That's one thing because they advertise as flushable, but they don't advertise as they break down. So yes, they'll flush, but they're still not good for your system.
right,
There is only one brand that I do recommend, and it's the Cottonelle flushable wipes. That's actually on our Facebook. We did a little test, and we broke it down. We put it in a pitcher of water, right next to regular toilet paper. While the toilet paper, the regular stuff, did break down after about 2 or 3 minutes.
hmm,
It took 45 minutes, but that is the only wipe that I've seen actually break down.
really.
Yep. So Cottonelle flushable wipes, the only wipes you should use.
The only ones you should flush.
Yes, yes.
What's your coverage range? What are all the areas you
So we
work
cover
at?
100% of Collin County. And then we will go into Dallas. I try to keep it as north of 635 as possible, but I do have customers in Highland Park and University Park. So we'll go where needed, within reason, obviously. But
I know
we,
you got to do some special jobs for us because we're property management. We got
correct.
properties everywhere. I know you've covered us real well, so
We
I
do, and
appreciate
we
that.
we have a lot of synergy, with partners, and so I do. I'd like to, be able to handle all of your clients
Right,
if you trust me with,
right.
your customers. So we absolutely make exceptions where needed be. So besides just property managers, we also synergize really well with different restaurants, dental offices, old folks' homes, anything commercial or residential, gas, sewer, water, we can handle.
That's good to know. So tell me some war stories. What's some good or bad war stories, and maybe insurance issues where you had to help the homeowner fight the insurance company to get coverage.
Get coverage. Yeah, we see a lot of that in all different kind of leaks situations. And so that is why we work with water mitigation companies that we know that are vetted, so that way you don't end up in that situation. But insurance companies do. They fight back on tooth and nail on the most minimal things. So it really just depends on how your policy was written. But there's preventative measures that you can take beforehand, so that way you don't have to deal with that, the insurance pushing back. So that's why we really recommend any preventative measure that we can take, having us go around and do a 360 evaluation to see potential causes for issues, running that camera, doing a leak test. There's just other things that we just recommend to do. So preventative maintenance all the way.
Does insurance pay for any of the preventative stuff?
They do. They For the leak detection itself. For me, I'm actually, because I just had it installed on my house, so insurance is giving me a $500 credit every year for that water coverage and mitigation. So mine will be paid off in 3 years. And then beyond that, I'll end up saving money. So I will see a return on my investment, as well as it's saving me, $10,000+ without me even knowing.
Right, right. And less headache,
Correct.
less worry.
I don't have to live outside of my household under a construction zone.
Right.
Yep.